that time, guys, to roll out my top 3 stock picks for October. This is a really special episode for me. I've really been advocating on this show that the stock market right now, I feel, is at an all-time high, okay? So just going out there and buying stock to buy stock is really not something that I advocate right now. This is my top 3 stock picks, guys, for October. Guys, welcome. My name is Ryan. This is the Independent Investor Channel. I'm coming to you from the Big Apple, New York City, New York. These are some of the funnest videos that I come up with, and I always try to offer something different than the next guy, all right? So tune into my channel if you want to kind of understand a little bit about my thought processes with regard to some of the areas that I'm looking in this market. You know, the market is at an all-time high right now. Does that mean we need to be hands-off on this market? Absolutely not. It just means that we need to work a little bit harder to fine-tune our portfolios if you've been investing for quite some many years. And if you're new to investing, to approach this market carefully, okay? A couple ground rules that I always put forth, and I always put them forward in my top 3 videos. These are recommended stocks that are going to fit in my portfolio, okay? And they're going to fit into my portfolio in addition to my core holdings, all right? Now, I put out videos to let you guys know what my core holdings are, all right? And I've got about 21 or 22 other stocks that I actively hold, all right? But I come out with these snapshot videos every month to let you guys know what stocks I'm looking to enter into, whether it be a long or a short position, and I will let you know that. What stocks that I've been monitoring for quite some time, and I'm kind of getting ready to look to take a position in, guys. So please enjoy. These are some of the funnest videos that I come out with, and I know there's a lot of people out there that really look forward to the monthly top stock picks, really from all the YouTube creators, because it's really, really interesting to kind of see where folks are coming from as each one of us has our own perspective on how to approach the market. So guys, please enjoy. The first one is VPU. VPU. We've all heard of VPU, right? No. Okay. On this particular channel, I talk all the time about the Vanguard index funds, all right? Now, index funds and ETFs really can be used in a lot of different manners to get you broad-based exposure to certain segments of the market or an entire market as a whole, okay? I actually have a gap in my particular portfolio, or a hole in my particular portfolio, and I am a firm believer in a diversified portfolio, and that hole for me exists in the utilities sector, okay? I researched 3 of my favorite stocks. Actually, I've got about 4 favorite utility stocks: Dominion, American Water Works, Duke Energy, and Nextera. Those are my 4 favorites, all right? Now, if you wanted to go purchase those assets individually, you could do that. The problem is I looked at purchasing individual utilities names, and the unfortunate part about it is each one of them failed to actually meet the utilities benchmark, the S&P utilities benchmark, which is VPU. So when I started to look into VPU, we're talking about an expense ratio of 0.10, okay? So relatively low on the ETF side. It pays a dividend of about 3%. And what they've done here, this fund has really not been around very long. It's been around since 2015. And it's run up about 18 basis points from around 100 up to around 118. But to buy this particular utility sector, is all kind of wrapped up in one particular ETF product, which is an exchange-traded fund. And basically, by buying this particular ETF or a few shares in this particular ETF through Vanguard, it allows me to go in there and grab this sector exposure to the utility sector that I'm looking at. Now, I'm only looking at 3% exposure to the total overall utility sector. And VPU just happens to meet that requirement for me. It's got a really good basket of utility stocks. 97% of the stocks that make up this particular ETF are utilities, and it actually gives me exposure to all the stocks, because really when I started to look at the single stock allocation within VPU, it just didn't make sense to me. And it's something that I can buy and keep that utilities exposure to that sector kind of within that cap. Just keep it and keep it long term, okay? This is not going to be a short-term trade for me, but I'm only looking at picking up a couple shares of the VPU, kind of feeling it out a little bit, and just kind of feeling out this market as we start to go. Now, utilities as a whole really is non-cyclical, which means that everybody's always consuming some sort of electrical or some sort of power or energy or water, anything that the utility sector represents. So it's a really safe sector, and I've really been neglecting getting exposure to the sector, and that's going to change in October for me. Okay. Qualcomm. Qualcomm I have been tracking this entire year, and just up until a couple weeks ago, I think I got my buying opportunity in Qualcomm. Qualcomm pays a dividend of well north of 4%, which is extremely attractive enough. With that said, Qualcomm in and of itself is an extremely attractive business. It is in the semiconductor subsector, okay? But these guys own a lot of the patents on a lot of the equipment that goes into every single cell phone device that we're carrying around, okay? I didn't really know a lot about Qualcomm years ago when I started investing, but it's been one of those companies that I've really just kind of kept on the back burner, and I've watched it in the 70s, I've watched it come down. The real tell is when you go back in the stock chart of Qualcomm to January of 2016, where it actually hit a pretty good low. And it actually spiked a little bit in the mid 60s, and now it's right back down to 50. And I'm absolutely going to be looking at least a 25 share position in Qualcomm, probably in the safer portfolio, but Qualcomm is screaming at me to buy. I haven't decided whether or not it's going to be a short position or a long position. It's probably going to be a short position, okay, because if it does run up into the 60s and 70s, its price objective, I think its fair market value actually is running it all the way up to the low 70s, guys. And the stock's trading at $50 right now. It's an absolute bargain, okay? So Qualcomm is going to be one of those stocks that I add for October, all right? Halliburton. Halliburton is one of the largest service providers in the oil and gas industry. They are in 70 different countries. They were looking to acquire Baker Hughes all the way through the downturn in the oil prices. The Baker Hughes deal has been suspended indefinitely. It's not going to be going through. And everything that I've read on Halliburton basically chalks that up as a net positive for Halliburton. They're going to be able to go after a little bit more smaller companies to fit niche pieces of their portfolio. But Halliburton is enormous. This is a $36 billion company. And for the last couple months, I've certainly been really, really heavy on energy. Energy is the sector that I'm actually overweight in right now. Because of the low oil prices, and I really think we're kind of making a bottom here. With 45 as a base, in between 50, we've just cracked 50, and these stocks have really cracked. They have really cracked and started to run. All right. Halliburton will be one of those alternative plays, okay? I really enjoy Schlumberger. I've owned Schlumberger in the past. They're actually the largest oil service provider, and what they do is they provide the equipment and the technology basically to make the extraction of oil possible for all the majors, okay? Now, there's only a few of these players. Baker Hughes, Halliburton, and Schlumberger are the three that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are others, but those are the three I track. I have owned Schlumberger, I have made money. I have owned Halliburton, and I have made money. The real tell for me here with Halliburton almost pays a 2% dividend, so not bad. It's going to give you some money to hold the stock, and I'm actually probably going to get long on Halliburton. Halliburton's been around since, I believe, 1919. I mean, they have been around for a long time. It may be 1909. but they have been around forever. And based out of Houston, Texas, Halliburton is relevant in the oil services play. And as oil starts to come off the bottom, Halliburton is going to benefit from that, guys. So I can't stress enough, I always try to put an oil play in there for you guys. A lot of the other channel creators, they're not touching oil. I'm jumping right into it and taking a bath in it. So, hey, what can I say? We'll see who's right or wrong here next year, 2017 and 2018, okay? You have to look at sector downturns as an opportunity, okay? Enter into these quality names and let them pan out and let the momentum, the back swell of momentum and the increase in the oil price drive the stock price higher, all right? So those are my top 3 stock picks for October, guys. And I always throw in a bonus pick. I call it my top 3, but I always throw in a bonus pick. And I always throw in a bonus pick, usually that's not even a stock. And October is no different. And I'm going to offer up the one real estate REIT that is my very favorite. The only mistake I have ever made with American Tower REIT is to sell American Tower REIT. I have owned this twice already. I have sold out of the position early both times. Big mistake. I just got my opportunity. It's come back off of 145 down to 140 a couple bits. And what these guys do, they actually rent. They are the ones that own the cell phone towers, okay? That the major cell phone companies basically rent their property to get their satellite signal out, okay? So all of the major players basically have to go through AMT. AMT is actually considered it's a financial services company, basically, but I just thought I'd offer AMT as a pick to throw out there on one of those companies that I'm going to be looking at here late September, early October, and I will be taking a position in AMT. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to my top 3 stock picks for the month. These are usually some of my most fun videos, and I know they're some of the videos that my audience looks the most forward to. If you have not subscribed to the Independent Investor channel, I encourage you to do so. You'll be notified of any future videos that I put up on YouTube. If you have not left your comment at the bottom, please leave your comments at the bottom with regard to these stock picks, or please offer your own stock picks so we can start to educate my viewing audience and make that much more of an informed investor. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and good luck in your investment future.